Most movies with dogs don't tend to end well, but rest assured, with Clifford the Big Red Dog, it's sure to have a happy ending. As middle schooler Emily Elizabeth struggles to fit in at home and at school, she discovers a small red puppy from a magical animal rescuer. When Clifford becomes a gigantic red dog in her New York City apartment and attracts the attention of a genetics company, Emily and her clueless uncle Casey have to fight the forces of greed as they go on the run across the city and take a bite out of the Big Apple. So if you're in the mood to learn about a new munchie that I found, stay to the end of this review. I've got one for you. So Clifford the Big Red Dog is playing in theaters right now, and it's also available to stream on Paramount+. It stars Darby Camp, Jack Whitehall, John Cleese, and Tony Hale. And then there's also a large group of supporting characters with David Allen Greer, Kenan Thompson, Rosie Perez, Horatio Sands, and Paul Rodriguez. The cast is actually pretty stacked, even in just those smaller roles. I honestly had very low expectations going into this. I assumed it would be overly cheesy and even cringy with maybe a few cute moments, because come on, it's hard not to have cute moments when you have a giant puppy running around. And I was right, this is cheesy, and it's even cringy at times. There are large portions that are overacted and super ridiculous. The dialogue is obvious, and so are several of the jokes, and then the CGI is even sketchy at times. But here's the thing, I had a lot of fun with this. The story, the characters, acting, message, and heart, along with just the utter cuteness of Clifford, made me fall in love with this movie. It's very easy to pick apart all of the silly aspects of this that could cause you to not want to watch it. But I think for each nitpick, there's sweetness and charm that offset those negatives. The story is predictable, and I actually found a lot of comfort in that. As we get to know the characters of Emily Elizabeth, Uncle Casey, Emily's friend Owen, and of course Clifford, it becomes very easy to be sucked into the cuteness. Now obviously, Clifford is a giant CGI creature, but the mannerisms are captured so well, especially in the small nuances. There's a moment where Clifford is happy, but he's sitting and his tail is just still sweeping back and forth at the very end. And we see some butt waggle as he gets excited, holding true to puppies that are just overjoyed at pretty much everything. But even outside of Clifford, the performances are heartfelt and sweet. Darby Camp as Emily Elizabeth nails it as the shy kid who's longing for friendship and to belong. Jack Whitehall as Casey pulls off the Arrested Development uncle pretty perfectly. Now sure, all he has to be is a slacker, but in order for us to sympathize with him, he needs to be more than just the slacker comedic relief. He needs to show how loving and caring he is, even if it comes across in odd ways. Whitehall accomplishes this, and despite having some humor that is forced, he's still fun to watch. I also appreciate the chemistry between he and Camp as they create some silly banter. Now, like I said, the progression of the story is very obvious, and it's simple to boot. But this isn't designed to be some complex mystery with tons of misdirection and intrigue. It's a family comedy created to warm the heart and provide some laughs, and that's exactly what we get. I think Tony Hale as the antagonist is wonderful. He's villainous, but never menacing. Sure, there could be a lot more depth to his character, but for the story that's being told, we just need to know that he's greedy and motivated to succeed at any cost, even if it's dishonestly. And Tony Hale has this quality to him that allows him to look mad, but still be a little warm. Like his meanness is never 100% convincing. And while that wouldn't work in a drama or a thriller, it's perfect in this family comedy. Now I mentioned that the CGI isn't always awesome, and it's not. But it's never terrible either. There are times where it's more obvious that an animal is not real, but at the same time, even with a giant Clifford, sometimes it looks like they filmed a real dog and then colorized it and made it huge. I wasn't ever expecting photorealistic effects in this, so I wasn't disappointed with what we get. There's a great nod to the creator of Clifford. John Cleese plays a mysterious and possibly magical guy who is sort of our narrator throughout the movie, but he's also the one who introduces Clifford to Emily Elizabeth. Cleese's character is named Bridwell, which is coincidentally the name of the author who created the Scholastic Books series that this movie's based on. And while I'm talking about Cleese, he is charming as always. He's kind of that witty and sarcastic grandpa who's going to sneak you candy while your mom's not looking. His character is also there to impart wisdom and provide encouragement, and he's a comfort every time he's on screen. The movie's only 97 minutes long, and it keeps the action flowing all the way through, which I think is going to keep the littles pretty engaged. And there's actually very little downtime, so even if the younger ones begin to get a little squirmy, rest assured that more hijinks and craziness are going to be right around the corner. And then there's the emotional pull to this. There were a few moments that I got a little choked up. I wasn't in tears, but there were a couple of scenes that are designed to make you feel. And I was all caught up in the feels. I don't think they're sad enough to be heartbreaking, but they do come close, especially with the reactions of Clifford within the context of these certain scenes. So, overall, Clifford is a surprisingly heartfelt family comedy. While the dialogue and situations are cheesy and often over the top, and the CGI is not always flawless, everything comes together to create a story that will make you leave with a smile on your face. The acting is big and even silly, but this is about a big red dog, so how could it not embrace the silly? The fact that the story knows what it is and fully commits makes for a lot of fun and something the whole family can enjoy. And while this is a great movie to stream on Paramount Plus, I don't think you'll be disappointed if you took the kiddos to the theater to catch it at a matinee. There's no sex or nudity, there might be very mild profanity, and some silly and slapstick violence. I give Clifford the Big Red Dog 3.5 out of 5 couches. Okay, so my wife found this new munchie, and honestly, I only tried it because I was scavenging around for something sweet. These are Thinster's dark chocolate coconut cookies. And we got them at Costco, but they might be available in some other places. Now, I'm not the largest coconut fan, but I do love dark chocolate, so I already had mixed feelings when I stuck my hand in the bag. And then also, these are non-GMO, peanut-free, with no corn syrup and no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. And with that list, they sounded like they're gonna be terrible. But to my surprise, they're delicious, as in I eat about 10 at a time delicious. Now, the coconut isn't too coconutty, and the dark chocolate, you can see it right there, it provides just the right amount of sweetness without being overly sweet. Now, the bag says the serving size is 4 cookies, but come on, it's a bag, so what does it know? I say you pick up a bag of these and just have at it. And because they're healthy, at least by the standards of all that they don't contain, you can eat these guilt-free, by the handful, which I certainly do. So there you go, a new munchie, if you're looking for something sweet to try. All right, so what's a good family movie that you've seen lately? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me. Don't forget to pick up some Thinsters. Real good. Sorry, I'm chewing. That's rude, huh? But they're good.